know. You probably got your speaker up. Saturday Night Live. We in.
Yep, Saturday Night Live.
We in the place to be.
Mm-hmm.
Soul Cycle Alchemy.
Yeah. Your volume is a little dim.
Okay,
It
let me
can be a
see.
little louder.
Oh, my volume can be louder. Is what you
Yeah.
said?
Yes.
Is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool. Yep.
Another
Well,
Saturday night.
yeah.
Evening.
It's Saturday night.
Do the go ahead and do the mantra right quick.
Okay.
Islam, brother.
Okay. Through the power of force, might, will, of the great nothingness of infinite deepness, of infinite endless limitless invisible life, from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into physical realization, actualization, and form as we all now willing commanded to be. It's now being and becoming an active force of higher consciousness and an active force of infinite intelligence within us all. Now being and becoming the great primordial dragon god son Kundalini flame, now whirling and ascending up our spine from our root chakra to our central heart chakra, on up to our royal crown chakra, igniting our royal crown chakra, illuminating our first eye, the Lord Amunel Dragra, the hidden priestly grandmaster magi, dragon god, son, king, and queen, igniting all of the 72 chakras in our first eye, our 72 primordial dragon god, son, kings and queens, and all of our legions of 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 armies 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 of armies. Now, being becoming own Grand Master Mother Dragon God Son, like one mind ship Merkaba, now opening up a supermassive black hole, holding this time and space continuum, returning back to our original primordial beginning, returning back to our original primordial station and original primordial DNA blueprint before creation and humanity and before the fall of our primordial souls, renewing our dark matter, dark energy souls, reabsorbing our original primordial essences, reigniting the divine spark back with its original primordial charge, recharging our infinite soul back with the great mother dragon goddess queen, being and becoming something brand new that's never been, being and becoming one with the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into physical realization, actualization, and form as we all now willing commanded to be. Now, bringing all out war, judgment, death, and destruction to the multi-universe created by the lower multi-dimensional archonic demiurge, angelic, and demonic energies that slayed our primordial souls before creation, using our primordial energy to create this light and energy extraction matrix, imprisoning our souls, keeping us ignorant of our true higher selves so we can feed off of our light through this wicked worldly system until now, because now's the time of their fall. It's our new higher primordial dark matter and dark energy souls return, higher self return back to creation from our primordial beginning, traveling through a supermassive black hole in our grandmaster mother dragon god sunlight beam mind ship Merkaba, now ripping through and tearing holes into this space-time continuum, circling all of the corners of the earth, awakening all of the holy divine sparks at once. Now, shedding all of their physical cocoons, becoming beings of dark matter, dark energy, emitting a new primordial light, sending us to the Grandmaster Mother Dragon Ship, Beam Mind Ship Merkaba, along with the infinite soul of Mother Earth and all of her children, leaving an empty shell behind as we go up, as we open up a super massive black hole, folding out of this creation matrix as it is completely destroyed, as we are all now reunited back with the infinite all as one, now free to begin experiencing true divine love, being and becoming a new primordial universe where the earth is renewed into something beyond any description, as our souls are now free to begin our own worlds, becoming kings and queens, exploring a new and never explored universe and multiverse in peace, love, and harmony until this day of Brahma becomes the next night of Brahma. Through the power, force, might, and will of the great nothingness of infinite beingness, of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible life from which comes the absolute all. All that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into physical realization, actualization, and form, as we are now willing commanded to be unto the entire omniverse, earth, and physical and spiritual matrix and heavenlies, from beyond the entire omniverse, earth, and physical and spiritual matrix and heavenlies, now completely taking over and consciously judging and destroying the entire omniverse, earth, and physical and spiritual matrix and heavenlies, being and becoming the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized, as we are now willing commanded to be. Abracadabra. Ashe.
Presto changeo.
Yep.
Right. And y'all have to be mindful of the reason why we open up with a mantra. And it's to put a layer of protections against all of the heavy rituals we're being bombarded by at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
So we come up with our own rituals, our own mantras to counter, you know what I'm saying, the rituals and mantras that are being perpetuated upon us. So,
yeah. They're taking the offensive. We have to take the offensive with the rituals now and the magic and take it to them.
Yeah,
we have
right.
Yeah, we gotta blitzkrieg they ass with some hell of a black magic.
Right.
Yeah.
Black magic is just the most potent magic. It's not evil.
Yeah. Well, it depends.
I'm just clarifying to the audience because
it's not good or evil. It just is.
Evil. It's energy. Yes.
Yeah, it's energy. Right. It can be used for good, or it can be used for evil.
Yeah. Right.
And sometimes there's what is called necessary evils. There's evil that is necessary, like the evil that's necessary to clean up this bullshit.
Well, that's only from a human perspective that you would look at it as a necessary evil, because death is no enemy of man.
No, actually, death is pretty cool.
Yeah, death is no enemy of man. So, I mean, everything, all the stuff that we look at as negative or evil, I can give you a greater perspective of that concept. Like the devil, all the demons. I got a greater concept and I like to go by the archaic understanding of these concepts, like, because now it's been watered down.
Yeah,
suppress the real magic.
But see, it all stems from the fact that we're under a certain mindset, a religious mind frame. We've been put under this religious mind frame and taken out of our quantum mind, our magical quantum.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Right. So by taking us out of our real true mind, putting us into this little tiny box, everything is evil.
Right.
Yeah, everything's going to be evil. because nothing in life relates, and in this little tiny box called religion is anti-life.
Right. Religion is just the suppression of your ancient sciences.
Yeah, it's a weapon used against you in your spirituality. It's to arrest your spirituality, completely arrest it.
And we're talking about institutionalized religion. It's the priesthood have been going against the grain. No, not necessarily because it has to be an energy that's cultivated in this universe. I mean, on this plane, it has to be an energy cultivated, right? If that energy is not cultivated and it's not any benevolent being to get involved in that. They can't get involved in our evolution and our cultivation of energy. They can't.
Mhm.
You feel me? We
Well,
have to do it totally on our own. We have to come to realize for ourselves, and that's why we're acceptable. I mean, we're susceptible. We're susceptible
mhm.
because our guards are down as it pertains to our spiritual evolution. We're vulnerable right now. So it's like that's why these entities can come amongst us and they presenting all this technology to us and we're so fascinated by it. Like, oh, technology and all this, not realizing that they're just repackaging old bullshit to you, man.
Yeah, technology that's pretty much emulating our higher quantum abilities that we used to have a long time ago.
That
And
we
they,
can have now if we cultivate it. That's what I was talking about. The energy of cultivation. It's a
yeah,
cultivation. We are
yeah.
we are a cultivating entities. We have to be cultivated into becoming the fullest potential of who we could become. That's why Egypt had the study the you know what I'm saying, the
Mystery
secret
schools.
mystery
The mystery.
schools. They had the
Yeah,
mystery schools. Why? Because you have to be cultivated into this understanding. It ain't
well,
nothing that you're going to get snapped. Well, after a while, the thing is that genetic memory set in. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? If you are, because we used to think that an initiative, right? An initiative was just a chosen, like that's what a priesthood became, where they
Mhm.
just arbitrarily choose initiatives. No, that's not how it works.
Now, if you're following a priesthood that's totally masculine, that does not represent the feminine principle, you're following the
Right,
wrong.
right, like the Vatican.
Yeah. Any other ones that put the feminine principle over there by
Well, they
itself.
they worship it behind closed door, but they tell their parishioners that it's a patriarchy energy that they're dealing with, and they worship a patriarch and shit.
Yeah.
But behind closed doors, the Pope worshiped the mother,
Hmm.
the great mother. He worshipped the great mother behind closed doors. They all do.
Yeah.
You know the Masons call it the great architect of the universe.
Hmm.
And
I thought when they said that they were talking about the demiurge, but they're talking about the mother.
well, from it's all perspective, right?
Yeah.
It's all perspective. From their perspective, they're talking about the creator of their universe. So, from the perspective we're saying, we're talking about the creator. I mean, not the creator, but the mother of all universes, right? So it's just perspective. So when they saying the architect of the universe, they reaching trying to get where we're at in our perspective, in our genetic memory. They reaching trying to get where we at. So they can say
Mhm.
they call it the great architect. But guess what? They depict it as a woman too though.
Okay.
So
Mm.
they depict it as a woman.
Yeah. And this is what I heard about Jesus. You know who Jesus really was or really is?
Cool.
ISIS. ISIS. You put
Well,
those two names together, Jesus, ISIS. I mean, the what's
think
coming
about
back is going to be a feminine principle. It's not going to be a masculine principle. It never was a masculine principle.
well, it's the balance. Ma'at is coming back. Okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
Ma'at.
Yeah.
Ma'at is a feminine primordial goddess, but the thing is, she's come to bring the balance back, uh, not to just be this feminine energy and this overwhelming feminine energy. It's a
Yeah.
Ma'at's totally in the balance back. So what happens is though is like I'm going back to the cultivating of the energy. The cultivating, we are cultivating energy just like we are like wave farmers. We're forming different waves to cultivate the energy and put a certain put a certain um, how can I say it? How can I say it? Like
Magnetic energy, pull those waves.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, electromagnetic energy, a electromagnetic mechanism that attracts certain waves of energy
That
into
can only
reality.
happen. That can only happen when your energy is in tune, right? Through
Yeah,
meditations, through breathing techniques, you have to in tune your energy to become either a battery, a receiver, a generator of energy. All these things are functions of your energy. It
yeah.
can
What you said,
absorb,
cultivation.
it can generate, it can absorb, it can generate, it can assimilate,
Hmm.
right? It's so many functions, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
we really talking
Whatever,
about. You go ahead.
whatever your imagination, whatever your
Yeah,
mind can imagine.
yeah. It's limited to your imagination, right?
Yeah, and the mind is the driver behind it. And
Remember we were
imagine
talking about that, like the melanin is like a tool for the soul, right?
hmm
In alchemy, mental alchemy, I'm going back to the cultivating of the energy, right?
Yeah,
See, and
yeah.
this is what I'm saying. Like a lot of us don't understand alchemy and what it truly is. We have been we have been led astray based on people wanting manifestations of physical
Yeah.
manifestations of physical desires. When the
Hmm.
physical reality is an illusion, y'all. It's
Hmm.
an illusion. So if that's your desires, then you're on the wrong path. Because we're the thing about it is, how did they create the pyramids from the inside out? We're looking at it backwards.
Outside.
They yes, because
Yeah, we look at that outside.
they're trying to figure it out with modern day third dimensional physics and you know what I'm saying? No, you can't. It's impossible. That's why it's still a seven wonder of the world.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
not, yeah, not just that one. All the ones we built in Mexico and shit.
Well, the thing about it is, time is not what we think it is. It's not linear. Time is not linear, y'all.
It's cyclical.
Time is multidimensional too.
Oh,
Because
yeah. Okay.
yeah, because we're multidimensional, right?
Hmm.
So what we're thinking is a passage of time, a passage of time, right?
Hmm.
Really is the evolution that because once we evolve in our psyche and understanding, the whole reality changes around us at that point.
Hmm.
The whole
Yeah.
reality changes around us at that point because our mind is creating this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me give me a minute, brother. Okay,
Okay. Oh, talking.
hit him with some music or something right quick.
Yeah. I hit you with some music.
You say I'm not what you needed for real. You stray from the tides and moon that's gone.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
I'm back. Okay. Handle, handle some
Yeah.
business right quick.
Okay.
I,
Well,
yeah.
we after yesterday,
Uh-huh.
we are now officially in the great storm.
Yeah, they predicting a very bad crash right now.
And
Economic crash.
all the pieces needed to be there to get this underway started yesterday with that inflationary report. The CPI coming in at 8.6%, haven't been that high since 79 or 80. I mean, gas prices are so high until some police stations in certain parts of the country, they can no longer afford 911 because they got to pay for the gas.
Okay, this is all. This is all playing into their whole agenda. This is all their agenda, man. It's so obvious when you see this stuff, man.
Well, yeah,
Because why would they now? Now they're going to come to the conclusion that now gas prices are so high, they're going to have to start patrol. What are they leading up to, man? What is this all?
well, they're stopping 9/11. They haven't stopped patrol yet with 9/11, but if it keeps going up, we'll.
No. I feel like this. Anything they putting on the news, they're really just trying to hype up something. They're really trying to pull strings, hype up something, antagonize. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to prime us for something that they're coming down the pipe. We always have to be mindful of what's coming down the pipe. This is why you guys. I'm encouraging everyone, stay prepared. It's real. This shit is not no joke at this point.
It's what's coming down. It's here. It's already here. But next week on Wednesday, we're gonna get a double whammy on Wednesday. We're gonna get a 50 basis point rate hike, and they're gonna take $35 billion off of their balance sheet. That's bye liquidity. All the cocaine that the market has been hooked on that needing to get high, they're taking that cocaine away.
And my thing is, the people are genuinely oblivious. The main thing on their mind is what's the score on the basketball game? Who won the championship this year? I swear to fucking God. And the Democrat Republican fiasco. The Democrat Republican, this is the main thing on their mind.
Yeah. Well, they gave us such a bad group of leaders until it's only obvious that we're going to be talking about that, because this shit is done on purpose. We this is the time where you get the bad leaders, and so they have the scapegoats there that take the fall for what's that people behind the scenes are engineering themselves. The leaders that we see aren't the real true engineers behind what's going on. But one of the leaders has made himself visible. What's that guy? A part of the World Economic Forum. Was Cross? What's his name? You know what I'm talking about? That bald-headed boy, that white boy.
What is he talking about?
Huh?
What is he talking about?
Well, he's the one that's telling us by 1930, or real soon, we're gonna own nothing and be happy, and the government will be.
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, and the government will take care of us. But
basically socialism. Basically socialism.
Yeah, they're trying to make another. They're trying to make another deal. They're trying to get us to make another treaty. So this shit can continue on when all the treaties are over, and this is the time where we can take back this motherfucker.
I disagree with you with all the treaties are over. You know what I'm saying? I say that I say that they're been they have been rendered inactive because the people are not aware of how to ascend to treaties. That's what
Oh,
it
okay.
is.
Oh, okay. Right. You know more about that.
Right. So, okay, how to take advantage of rising interest rates. They're trying to take advantage of this stuff, man. This is something that they're using. So the poor get poorer and the rich get richer. Basically, that's what it is.
Well, yeah, you know, this is something that's been going on. I mean, like I said, every 10 years you have the same cycle: boom, expansion, bust, contraction, recovery, boom, expansion, bust, contraction, recovery, boom, expansion, bust, contraction, recovery. However, at the end of that cycle, where you have the super boom, and now we're in the midst of the super bust, and after the super bust, um, we're gonna have a reset. This is they want to reset. They want a whole new system because this one is broken. It's beyond repair. So they're just gonna let it just run itself out
Right.
and
Purposely.
everything.
I predicted that years ago that they're purposely collapsing this one so they can
Hmm.
usher in something totally different. I predicted that at least 15 years ago.
Yeah, they're ushering in the wrecking balls. This is, yeah. See, they have their Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess that law or that principle applies to just about everything in the universe.
Right, right, right.
The beginning, the expansion, and then the destruction, and it starts all over.
So they're saying this economy is strong right now.
Oh yeah, I can tell by all the and all the people I see living in the freeway underpass.
They said that they said but you got to look at the perspective that they're saying this from, and it
Oh,
goes.
they're
Dominant.
talking about their economy.
No, look, that was funny what you said, but at the same time, you got to look at it from the perspective where their perspective. That's what they're saying. Like, no, if you are not in these markets and you are not a big player in this game, then they're not talking about you. It's not going to be.
Oh, you're not a part of this economy.
No,
No,
right.
The economy that they're playing, that they're part of, is booming. Yeah, they're talking about theirs.
Right.
They're not talking about ours.
They're saying interest rates on rising interest rate when the economy is overly strong.
Well,
Overly strong.
well, that was
when the economy
that's when you're in a normal business cycle. See, we're not in a normal. We haven't been in a normal business cycle. Our booms have been predicated off of debt. Okay, our booms, usually when you have an economic boom, that's because the economy is booming because business is great, people making money, and investments are great. Everything is expanding. No, this expansion was caused by printing, the printing press. Okay, and the economy became addicted to all of this free money, this cheap money. So it was like it became a drug addict. All right, so everything that we've seen, this big boom, was all because of trillions and trillions of dollars being printed. And now the cows are coming home, and we're seeing the fucked up part of that. This is just the beginning. Now they have to undo all of that. Man, I'm telling you, if inflation goes to 10%, 12% based on their numbers, they're going to have to hike interest rates 1% above that. And there's no way they can do that in this economy because it's too indebted. It'll just the destruction will be catastrophic.
Man, it appears that the Federal Reserve is the deep state.
The Federal Reserve is of the deep state. The deep state, the real people that are behind all that, we don't see them in publicly. If we do, they're playing their role down, like Senator Palpatine on in the Star Wars trilogies. You know, he seemed like the good guy, but he was the motherfucker behind all the shit that was going wrong.
You talk about Palpatine?
Palpatine, yes, Palpatine.
And they fashion him and style him after like a pope and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they style him like a pope or something.
Yeah, so we can be in a situation like that where the real true perpetrator is right there in front of us, smiling in our face, and you know, I'm out there fighting a good fight with you guys.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely a possibility.
Hell yeah.
You cannot be naive enough to think, and that's a big thing with us. Is like the general public are very, very naive. They are not critical thinkers. They're not willing to tell the truth because it's not politically correct a lot of times.
Well, they can be truthful to their own selves.
No.
So if you can't be truthful to your own self or about your own self, you can't be truthful for anyone else. You can't be truthful. If you can't be, same goes for me.
Right. So yeah, the Federal Reserve is responsible for setting the target interest rate at which banks borrow and lend to one another, which banks borrow and lend to one another. See, and that's an element that I never even considered. That damn, banks lend to one another.
Yeah, they do that all the time. They got this thing called the repo rate. They got this thing called the repo rate.
You done fucked me up right there. You fucked me up right.
In 2019, the repo rate, the interest went from like 2% to 10%, and the Fed had to go in there and start pumping, like they pumped like $11 trillion in that motherfucker to get those interest rates down.
Who bailed out the banks in 2008? Who bailed them out?
We did. Taxpayers.
Yeah, they used taxpaying dollars to bail out the banks.
Yeah. Who bailed us out? We had to bail our own selves out or fucking get taken out.
We have yet to be bailed out. We have yet to be bailed out.
There's no bill. There's no bill for you motherfuckers.
No, they shouldn't need stimulus and be mindful of the wordplay that they use, man.
Well, the stimulus is the reason why we got the inflation. Because they printed that money. Where did that money come from? They printed that money.
What is stimulus? What's the stimulus? What's the stimulus?
Stimulate.
To stimulate.
Yeah, it's just a temporary stimulation.
You can't resolve shit with stimulation. Except
no. This is say here. Take some of this cocaine.
You can numb yourself for a minute. That's it.
Yeah, this should. Yeah, you'll feel real good. Take some of this cocaine we got.
Right.
Okay, some of this green cocaine.
Drug y'all with your own greed, your own desire, lower self desires.
Well, but look at the motherfuckers that's been drinking out of the painted punch bowl. The fruit punch bowl.
They gave them the stimulus package so they can compound that y'all are co-suretized to the national debt. They compounded. They said no. Just to make sure that debt is going to be paid for by these American citizenship, right? The national debt. Y'all gotta pay that shit. We gotta pay this shit. Somebody gonna have to pay this shit, man. Somebody gonna have to pay this shit.
That shit is unpayable. That shit is unpayable. Impossible.
So if somebody just called a payment out and just say, okay, I want my money. I want my money right now. We go into slavery again, basically. I mean, at this point, that's exactly what happened. Okay, y'all. They're juggling around that debt right now to see, and whoever, mind you, China has a big portion of that debt. They have a big portion of that. They have a big interest in that debt too.
Yeah, because China, they scratch our back and we scratch their back. They make all the good.
See, when you said that, you see that's where the loyalty. I think that's a mistake we make, bro. We have loyalties to an institution, a government.
Well, it's globalism.
The government does not have the same loyalties for us, man. When we saying they doing it, they doing. You have special interests that run the whole fucking shit.
Well, these are the imposters, the intruders on the land that are doing business on our land.
But that's why we should divest from their government. We shouldn't have political allegiance with them anymore.
No,
we shouldn't have political allegiance with them anymore. Period.
Yeah,
we should return back to our original state we was in prior to their colonizing institutions that came over here. Period.
Well, they have to turn back over the land. Well, they
never had the land. They never.
Well, they're gonna have to. Yeah. Well, they've trespassed.
Not reading. No, listen. They never had the land. We're just not reading treaties.
They're smart.
They never had the land. We're just not. We're just not ascending to become jurists amongst us.
Right.
There is not a one jurist. There is not a one jurist amongst us that can articulate our status on our land right now. Now we're coming to realize this, and all the language is all fucked up. All the language we're using as it pertains to international law of nations, it will never allow us to get reparations. Just on the language we're using, you're never going to get reparations. Just on the language you're using, we're never going to get any of them to recognize the superior position we have on the land. Because we have to familiarize ourselves with these ancient principles. We have to familiarize ourselves with well-settled jurisprudence. We have to familiarize ourselves with well-settled law.
Okay.
Right? We have to familiarize ourselves, because I don't hear no one speaking of I hear people saying what you're saying falsely. Oh, the treaties don't apply no more. Okay, so if it don't apply, then how is the United States still around then?
Yeah, that's true.
They are here based on the treaties. There were treaties between the United States and the Iroquois Confederation, bro, that allowed them to be here. The Iroquois Confederation gave them amnesty when they was in rebellion to the crown, to their mother.
Who is this corporation?
It's a confederation of Moors, a confederation of tribes, that indigenous people that have been on this land, the Iroquois Confederation. And at the time when they were in rebellion to the crown, their mother, they couldn't be in certain areas that were ceded to the crown through treaties. The people who was on the colony, they were in rebellion to the colony, So they couldn't be in the colonies, meaning they were refugees. They didn't have no mother. They didn't have no protection, international protections at the time. So the Moors, the Iroquois Confederation, the Delaware Moors, right? Um, that was in that area, that area of Delaware where there was certain areas where they couldn't have passages because it was either British territory or was Indian territory, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in order to get that passage, even the British had to, you know what I'm saying, because they had got ceded treaties. So they had got treated through, they got ceded land grants and treaties prior to these things happening before the United States uh, got granted privileges to be on the land.
So we were
By
just giving motherfuckers our land. And
oh,
we're
we didn't
just
give
doing all kind of deals.
it was granted to them. We first of all that deal with the Iroquois Confederation was amnesty to the subjects of the crown rebelling against the crown at the time.
Well, something happened. Well, when we let them in, they must have killed all the people that, and by doing that, there was no one around that could kick them off or to keep them from taking over, like keeping this from happening, from what happened.
Right. But
There's
the
something
Europeans,
really fishy about
they
our
were
history.
look. You got to study. You got to study how they they began to expand beyond. It's a thin line, right, between colonialization and human and them violating human rights, right? They at first, when they first came over here, they was adhering to a lot of the treaties that allowed them to be over here from France, Spain, England, Portugal. All of them had treaties with the Moors. That's not no coincidence, man. They all had treaties with the Moors. So, and all these were secession treaties where they gave them all, and all of them recognized that it was the dominion of Morocco, meaning the political extent of Morocco.
Yeah, but okay, but we're talking about them talking. Okay, but see over here,
Over
over
here, yeah,
here,
this is
over
this is
here.
this is the dominion of Morocco over here, meaning the political extension of Morocco extended over here too.
Prior to Columbus.
Hell yeah! How
Okay.
you think Columbus got the? This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, bro. This is way before 1492. Way before 1492. You know what I'm saying?
So what the fuck happened after 1944? Shit.
What happened is it's a spiritual aspect to it, and there's a political, you know what I'm saying? You can look at the social political complexion of that history. And once you do, you can get a more thorough understanding of what happened in opposed to just a historic perspective. Because once you do the history of it, right, you gotta
Mm-hmm.
you gotta understand the social political complexion of that time, of that area, of that time. Then you can see who were the ones who were actually in power. That's what people don't really look at when they looking at history. You know what I'm saying? So they're they're acceptable. They're susceptible. They're susceptible to people's propagandas because even
So
countries are pushing this legacy, this propaganda legacy of their country. There's a propaganda behind the whole complexion of the country.
yeah, just like how in the ancient days where one pharaoh would change shit, take off another pharaoh's name or something.
Right, because it's they're shaping their legacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
shaping how they're perceived in history, basically. How they're going to be perceived in history.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which.
one of the biggest things to make the Europeans' modern perception of himself today was
Mm-hmm.
suppressing the Moorish Empire history. That's
Mm-hmm.
the biggest thing. This is why when I bring that up, that's unfathomable to people in their minds based on what we have been indoctrinated with. It's unfathomable to even consider what I'm saying right now about the Moorish Empire. It's unfathomable. Like, no, hell no. I'm gonna argue to the. I done had arguments to the death, and I'm like, okay, do you realize that you're perpetuating European history on the world? When you
Euro.
arguing against what I'm saying, when you arguing against what I'm saying, you're perpetuating here European worldview.
Yeah. Well, that's because, yeah, like you said, their mind is not able to accept that or to process that information yet because it is something that's not taught to us on yeah. So okay, so we're ignorant of that. Someone purposely made us ignorant of our true selves.
So, but guess what? There is a lot that comes along with that ignorance of being raised in that ignorance.
Oh,
Most of us raised in that ignorance. So
we all were raised in that ignorance. And not only that, we were cultivated in that ignorance through television, program.
right,
And another,
most people a Disneyland perspective of history.
yeah,
It was packaged like a McDonald's Happy Meal.
yeah.
Your,
Mm-hmm.
your perspective, your reference point of history was packaged to you like a goddamn Happy Meal for the conveniency of keeping you complacent, for the conveniency of making sure you're not a critical thinker,
So
right?
this system can continue on. So they can continue on without any disruption.
Well, it will continue. It will continue to persist as long as we allow it. we can we can decide today to be like,
Well,
no, I refuse to be fooled anymore.
yeah.
The thing about it, they pulling some of the oldest tricks in the book off on us, right?
Shit. We don't even know. We don't even know when we're being a fool
They pulling some
because
of the oldest tricks on the book right now,
yeah,
bro.
because we just don't fucking know. The only thing we know is what they told us or what they said. No.
Well, they got us cultivating the energy. That's what I'm going back to the energy being. The energy that has been cultivated is vibrating below the heart chakra, or
Yeah.
even below the solar plex.
Oh, so we're talking about the red and orange chakras now.
Right there, most people are vibrating like
And the red
little
and orange chakra.
a little below the solar plex.
Yeah.
Where they
So
vibrate.
they
And
deep down.
yeah, they mostly vibrating in the root chakra.
Oh well.
Right.
They're not gonna get this any that you need you have to be in the heart chakra or above to be able to get the mysteries.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
what Jesus is illustrating when it has the heart of flame and it has the crown chakra of flame. Now, I have yet to see both of them at once, even though that is the original true principle that was being depicted in that image
yeah.
of the
Well, in
heart
Egypt
chakra
they have
I never seen both of them in one picture though. I see one. I see a picture with the heart chakra of flame, or I see a picture with his forehead or his crown chakra of flame.
Yeah, they don't. They're not going to show you that full. That's too much mental alchemy.
But yeah, it is mental alchemy because once mental alchemy, I'm glad you say that. Mental alchemy is this ability to take these reference points and mash them into they become
Archetypes.
these reference points, right? These reference points are basically base metals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're transforming them, and you're pulling out their impurities of these visions, these images, and these reference points and shit, and you're mashing them together and making this pure what they call it, the base metal, and then the purified metals.
Oh, they're calling it the philosopher's stone.
The philosopher's stone. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you're trying to produce your own philosopher's stone.
So that's a alchemy is exactly that process, but it's in the mind and it's in the spirit.
Yeah. It's inner. It's
Right.
inner works.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you're doing this work, it's like you can't limit your thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't be programmed on reference points by the matrix. The matrix has programmed you with reference points of what things are. What you need to be mindful of, a study that I'm encouraging everybody to get into is etymology and epistemology. Etymology is the study of the origins or the root of words,
Mm-hmm.
in opposed to the meaning of a word, the actual true sense of a word, right? That's etymology.
Okay.
And epistemology is the critical methodology of finding out what is truth or what is by what is because there are things that
Accurate.
in this society have been deemed as true. Well, epistemology addresses that, right?
I would say accurate. True. What's what? I mean, truth. Mm. Someone can make something look true, and it don't be true.
You said, well, say that again.
Someone can make something look true, and it's not true, really true.
Someone can make something look true and it's not really true.
Appear true. Yeah, appear as being true.
Right. In order for you to do mental alchemy, you have to be able to see the tricks, though. You cannot be swayed or be influenced by other people's tricks. You will literally have to, once you master your mind, you are a master mind, right? Once you master your mind, you are a master mind. Meaning, unless somebody got more than one mind, or they've evolved to where they can tap
No,
into
you
their
tap into the universal subconscious mind.
right, right.
You,
And
yeah,
unless somebody who's evolved beyond just what I'm saying, the cardinal mind and
yeah,
your
yeah.
mind.
Shit. I remember when we were studying the sacred doctrine, we had the terms to all of that shit. The secret doctrine would give you the terms to all of those different mind types or archetypes, higher archetypes, what they're called. Buddhi.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
These different higher minds, they have different names for them.
Okay.
It's something, I have to continue to study that shit. It's a lot of it's a lot to remember. But in Kabbalah, you have different archetypes, or like on different levels, energy manifests as different in different forms. Like in one universe, the infinite manifests as the archangels. In another universe, it manifests as orders of angels. And then on earth, God's name is called Adonia.
Right. Well, all of these, it's not about, we get hung up in words a lot, right? But the energy or the,
Yeah, it's the energy that you want to get out of the words.
right, the concept, okay, let me finish. The concept, right, that's associated with a word, right? It's like you can get a million conceptualized understanding off that word now. Because now you got the conceptual, just like with the word more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with the word more, you get trapped if you're just looking at it colloquially or connotatively, right? You get trapped in that, and you don't see it in its diversity, in its broadness, is what I'm saying, in its unabridged approach, right? When you're looking at
Yeah.
it, most people narrow it down to, oh, it just means black. Some people just say it means black, even though it don't. That's an example. They narrow it down. Well, that's just the connotative. Now, broad, it's a broader meaning. When you look up the word more, it's so broad, bro.
It has many different aspects.
It's
Of
broad. It's
itself.
very broad. You know what I'm saying? You
Mm-hmm.
got to just go into it. I've done videos on just the word more and its morphology and its transliteration, and how it's in all these different languages in different forms, but it's kind of speaking to this character. It's kind of speaking to, even with the word more being the soil, being the richest soil,
Mm-hmm.
right? The dark, it's the black soil or something.
Oh,
That also means that too, right?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's deep. You just got to go.
Yeah. So, yeah, it has many different meanings.
But when you get words like that, you can see how it's multidimensional,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is why when you dealing with Moors, you can't narrow it down to just the history, even of the Moorish Empire. It's extends
So
beyond that.
it's a word that you describe a lot of different things.
Yes, but it's a spirit to it that it's connected to a certain spiritual or a certain energy, right? It's connected to a certain energy and stuff, and it's like an energy that's basically is connected to an energy that's carrying on a certain legacy of knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
that's another aspect of a Moor too. They're always looked at as the custodians of knowledge,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So it's man, my research is really deep in that word, and just the word more, bro. The research goes deep. Like I said, go look on my page. I did a video on just the admiralty or maritime law.
Yeah.
That is a derivation of more.
Okay.
Admiralty, right?
Mm-hmm.
More admiralty is the root word is amir.
Amir. Oh, okay.
Amir.
So,
Right?
at the word admiral is Moorish. Then, huh?
It is Moorish, yes. And
The
then
app.
Maritime. That
Uh-huh.
MAR is just a derivation of more too. MAR, maritime. That's maritime law. That's basically talking about the Moors who are basically the curers of the Sea of Seven Seas. And you know what I'm saying? This is how maritime law came about
Mm-hmm.
because of those regulations that the Moors put on the seven seas.
Mm.
When you go deeper into the knowledge, this is why all of these European nations had to have treaties with the Moors
Mm-hmm.
because they couldn't expand their overseas empire
And
ambitions,
they got
their
jealous.
overseas empire ambitions.
They got jealous of the Moors and eventually took them out.
No, that's not what happened.
That's not what happened.
Nope.
The Moors
What
took their
happened
own
was
selves out.
exactly they say it right.
They took their own selves out.
What happened was they seen us at each other's throat, and they took that as opportunity to come
That
in
was
and pillaging.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's what it
Sort of like how what's happening in their camp now, where they're all against, at each other's throats now. Different
right,
parties, different fashions within their structure.
right. For sure, but we at war. We are at war, y'all. But guess what? It's not physical. It's not physical war. It's not go pick up your guns and try to go against the government. And no, it's not a physical war. Not a physical war. We're in a very mental and spiritual war right now. It's
Yeah.
very mental and spiritual. Okay,
Mhm.
this war has left casualties amongst us. Where you see the mental health issue is so abundant right now, right? A lot of American Native Indians is more same words, right? Well, you got to when you study and what I learned in studying words, right, and studying language, right, is the fact that all of these language did not originate when none of these languages originated with the pale skin European pale skin. They didn't originate shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
They don't
Bobby
have
Hemming.
they don't have a language. They don't have a language, bro. Right? Well, English is not necessarily even a language, right? English is basically a lingua franca, right? A lingua franca basically is a trade language. It's a universal language among different tribes that they spoke amongst each other that they understood, right? That's why if you notice, English um, is a fairly medium language. It's like a medium language between different other languages. You know what I'm saying? So when we looking at language, I think people need to do a thorough understanding of the history of language itself too. How morphology, right? That's a study of how words become to be what they became, transliterations, right? Because a lot of languages that got that basically morphed into languages that we speak today. They came from a mother language. All of these, but what I'm saying is, all these modern language, they have a
Mm-hmm.
mother. They have a
Yeah.
mother. You got to go back to the mother. Once you go back to the mother, you can figure all this shit out here because they're hiding in between the language right now. Well, it's called connotative linguistics. It's called constructive language. And what happened is the lexicography profession, right, where these are people who write dictionaries, lexicography, or lexicographer, right? These are the people who write dictionaries, right?
Yeah.
Well, over time, that culture, it's a culture associated with that writing dictionary. It's a culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Over time, the culture moved farther away from adhering to the archaic meaning of words.
Mm-hmm.
The culture became more commercial in nature, right?
Uh-huh.
So it became more fast food knowledge.
Yeah.
So this is why in back in the days the dictionaries was this thick and shit, and
Mm-hmm.
you had to get two people to carry that motherfucker.
Now the
Right?
shit is just
This little booklet, you get a little booklet at the 99 cent store, and think you're getting a thorough evaluation of words and meaning of words. No, they even got rid of the. You know, there was a abundant of different reference point in a dictionary that they had, like the phonics, right? They tell you the origin. They show you the origins of the sound of the word, right?
mm-hmm.
Then they had the etymology where they show you the origins of the root of the word, where the root of the word came from. These are all important for critical thinking. Why don't people know about this concept, etymology? Why don't people know about epistemology? Because they don't want to know. It empowers you. It empowers you, right?
Well,
And
that's the reason why we don't know. That's they don't want us to know, because if it's something that's going to empower us, then they definitely going to turn. They're going to put darkness on that. No light going to be shed on that. They're going to put the light on something else here.
right. In that metaverse, I don't put like they're see, we have to be mindful of the fact that they're throwing out a lot of different potentialities that they're pushing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't live, I don't call it the multiverse anymore. I call it the potentiality verse, right? Because depending on what is being focused on is going to become that potentiality of. Now, if we're focused on their agenda, like I keep telling people, stop focusing on their agenda. If we don't like, this is why. How do you stop focusing on their agenda? Write down your agenda.
Right
Start
down.
writing. No, start literally writing down your agenda. What you want to come about in the next 10 years. If you don't have that, then guess what? You're caught up in somebody else's agenda. Period. Write down now. What I'm saying is we need to start governing over our own affairs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you need to take a class in a drafting, right? Drafting documents. Take a class. Like right now, I'm just taking an English class because it consists of grammar, right? You have
Mm-hmm.
to understand grammar, and take a class, a jurisprudence class, or a jurist class, where you can
Okay.
understand international law. Once you do that, you have the language, and now you got the writing skills to actually write yourself into death, into the future now, and
Okay.
create a structure that literally you protect yourself within the construct of that structure, right? It
Mm-hmm.
becomes it becomes what's called a social trust, right? You know how people call now this language of trust is so popular now. Oh, get you a trust, and guess
Yeah.
what? Your trust is your government, though. Think about that. Your trust is your government. So if you're creating a government, you want to create a social trust,
Mm-hmm.
or create an ecclesiastic trust, meaning your government can be like the Vatican, right? Because that's a nation
Mm-hmm.
state.
Yeah.
That's a nation state. The Vatican is a nation state.
A next.
Yes. So you can literally create these things, but the thing about that you need to be also, that's why I say it takes a juris class, and then have a understanding of treaties and history, right? Because you want to
Yes.
write, you want to write your documents based on that ancient, well settled jurisprudence, that ancient, well settled law. Because this is what the Supreme Court is doing.
Mm-hmm.
right? They are jurists. The Supreme Court judges are jurists.
They're
Okay.
jurists. Okay.
Yes, they're jurists, meaning they understand international law and they understand law of nation principles, right? So
Yeah.
familiarizing yourself with these concepts, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, right, in your nigga mindset, you will never. What I'm saying is like, why I gotta do all that? That's the first thing probably come to your mind is why I gotta. Okay, well, that's what I mean. You gotta ascend beyond the nigga mindset first.
Yeah.
Before, I'm saying
Yeah.
would even register for you. Because I speak to a lot of people who still vibrating in the nigga realm. You're still
Mm-hmm.
vibrating in the nigga realm, man. You gotta evolve beyond that. That's a trap. It's a trap, okay? That's why
Yeah.
that's why they call their music trap music. Y'all
Trap
don't get
music.
it? Yes, trap music. Literally is a subconscious awareness, right? Because they're doing it unconsciously, right? But you know how sometimes your own subconscious awares you of stuff that you're unaware of, unconsciously aware of. Your
Yeah.
subconscious will give you hints and shit. Well,
Yeah.
that's what that is. That's what trap music is. It's like basically we know it's a trap, but we're caught up in the nostalgia of it, in the feeling of it, and we know we're going to go to jail. We know we're going to eventually end up in jail, but we're caught
Oh,
up in the feeling of it.
oh
We
yeah.
know. I swear to God, I've seen a lot of people recently that did some shit that they didn't perpetuated in their mindset and their false image of themselves and their delusion of grandeur of themselves that they're a so-called hardcore gang maker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Went on and did some dumb shit, shot somebody, and now they're locked up now regretting that shit. You was under the spell at the moment. You didn't
Yeah.
even when you got locked up in jail, you snapped out of the spell at the moment. That's when you snapped
Yeah.
out.
Now you back in reality.
Some of y'all ain't even snapping out when y'all getting that motherfucker. So I don't know.
No. Yeah. Yeah. You're right about that. They actually when they go to prison, that's where they cultivate that shit.
Yeah, they compound that false narrative that they've been pushing on themselves from day one, from since they've been kids.
They're in an institution that caters to it and nourishes that.
Right, you're right, right. Because most criminals they go to jail, they go to criminal school. That's the criminal institution.
Yeah, that's their university.
You go to get your degree and shit in criminology.
Yeah,
You
or
get
or 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 get a degree in something else. Go there and just be a bookworm. Just can you still do that in prison?
well, I think
They
some
still
prisons
have libraries.
well they've taken out all of the critical books anyway, so and they monitor anything that's being mailed to them against their constitutional rights too, but they monitor their mail and shit, so you can't really get no pertinent information to them. That's why a lot of the Moors they can send religious stuff in there and stuff because they can. It's
Nothing
like
political.
I love how the Moorish literature is so compound with not only scriptural reference, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it got compound with true understanding of jurisprudence of that ancient time. It's so compound. So when they send that stuff in, it's looked at as religious, but it got a lot of hidden jewels in it if you really know
Yeah.
how to dig it out. If you know how to
Yeah.
dig it out, it got a lot of hidden jewels in it. That's why
Okay.
all the culture associated with the Moorish temple, right? The stuff that hasn't been tainted, because I've noticed that a lot of his literature and a lot of the material of the Moorish a lot of it's been tainted, bro. They've been changing words. They had changed a word here and there and throw
Mm-hmm.
off the whole energy of it.
Well,
This is how detrimental wordplay is, man. you can throw out, you can change one word in a sentence and you change the whole spirit of the intent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. But it also it gives you some glimpse of magic too, because this is how the magic works. Magic is literally manifesting intent, right?
Well,
Manifest,
yeah, and magic is magnetic too. Magnetic energy.
no doubt, no doubt. Of all of these functions of the energy has to come into on play and online because all of them are necessary to accomplish whatever magic you're trying to manifest.
Manifest. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, all about manifestation. Well, I'm. Well, we know what we should be manifesting right now.
Right. The
The
acceleration of this
of the
uh,
decline.
this collapse not being repackages to the masses so they don't see the obviousness because it's hard for a lot of them to see the obviousness of the system because it's all colluded with a gang of complications and stuff. It's colluded. So now, I mean, it like I said, go back to critical thinking and you'll see very clearly. But we're not critical thinkers, so it's hard for people to see it.
No, no, we're not not taught to think. We're taught to react and respond and consume. Like they said, they just want people to work, consume, and die. Yeah, pretty much.
So
And be critical to things like paying your taxes and paying your tithe and obeying your government and obeying the laws of the land.
right, right, right.
Obedience.
But
Totally, they need our total obedience.
right, they need it, but we should not give it to them any longer. We should
Not in
not
the
give it.
spirit they need it. Not in the spirit that they need. Not in the spirit that they need us to give it to them.
Right, right. Based on that old cultivated energy that they've built up from us against us. That old
Yeah,
cultivated energy is being ushered out at this particular moment. We're moving now. You're supposed to be cultivating the energy right now for this new paradigm. This is why
yeah,
we're not supposed to be even really at this point paying attention to what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? We're not supposed to
hmm
be paying attention to what they're doing. Right now, it's totally we need to be focused on creating this reality that we see fit for our well being. Because
Well,
we're
we have to pay attention to everything. We got to pay attention to we got to pay attention to what they're doing and what we're doing and what's happening because what they're doing is affecting, is having an effect, and by being aware of the effect, we have to be able to counter that effect.
I disagree because at the end of the day, we're gonna keep focusing on what they're encountering what they're doing, right? And giving them play every time. Every
Well, I
time.
said we have to be multi.
No, we can pay attention. We can look at the we can look at the peripheral of our eyes and make sure we're not going to get caught up because a lot of at this point it's like you want to totally get a distance from, and I'm talking about this is mental and in your heart from what's collapsing because you're going to end up affected by it, right? This is
Well,
what we're going to, if you're have some investments in that, if you have any uh, hope that it's going to reform, then that's who I'm talking about. Like
oh,
there's no reform.
well,
There is no reform. For there, this is collapsing. Is done. We now need to be realistic about that. and
Well,
start
now
saying,
you got to be in preparation of the reaction that's going to be coming back from that. The
all
reaction,
you
the
gonna
human
get,
reaction, the
all
human
you gonna get
response.
is a reaction. I'm not paying attention. I already knew there was going to be they're so predictable that I can use that reaction for, and we can use those who are mindful of creating their own reality. We can use that.
Oh
Now,
yeah,
all
yeah,
that.
we can.
So I'm not paying
Oh,
attention. These people are so predictable. Not only the people who are being affected by it, the commoners, but the elitists.
mhm.
They're predictable. It's like they're not doing anything that we shouldn't already have checkmate on. We checkmated they ass. But the
Yeah,
thing about it is, the more we're looking at what they're doing and saying, "Oh, we got to do something to counter what they're doing," as if they're in a superior position, and we got to move to what they're doing. No, they're in an inferior position. They're moving to what we're doing. So no, we don't have to pay attention to those long hours of analyzing what they're doing, which is mostly what
okay.
we're seeing. What
Okay,
mostly what
you have
Spanish
a good point there.
Spanish, which is mostly what I see in the so-called conscious community. They're overwhelmingly analyzing what this beast is doing, like, and that's the distraction. Now, when the shit collapsed, what have you done? What are you doing? What have you done? What like all these people in the conscious community? Y'all better be ready. Cause y'all done talked a gang of bullshit on the internet about what they doing and all this information. You didn't dig deep into analyzing what they're doing. Okay, y'all ass better be prepared. That's all
Yeah,
I know.
when the shit, yeah, when the
Your ass
shit
better be
hit the
prepared. You
fan, shit,
understand me?
even people that are prepared, I mean, you don't know what can go wrong.
No,
I mean,
I'm not saying prepared physically. I'm saying prepared emotionally, because that's
oh,
the main thing we're gonna have to, like, if you're not emotionally prepared for what's going to happen,
it's gonna
you're
take
gonna
you
go
down.
crazy. You're gonna
It's
go
gonna take you
crazy.
down.
You're not gonna be stable enough to handle the adversity
No,
coming
no,
about.
no.
So that's what I'm talking about.
Uh,
Being prepared. That's what
no,
I'm
you're
being
gonna be
talking
consumed.
about. Psychologically and mentally prepared is what I'm talking about for what's coming down the
Yeah,
pipe.
you got some people that are prepared for the fall because they're going to be they want to be on the anarchy side where the strong rule over the weak, where the strong takes from the weak, or
Puerto
we
Rico,
take.
the brother put the lights been going out in Puerto Rico. That been happening for years though. They always had an unstable grid in Puerto Rico, so that's
Well,
not
especially after that hurricane. After
right.
they got the hurricane. No, that was Puerto. Yeah, didn't they get that big hurricane? Maria.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in 2018. They've been in the dark age since 2018 almost.
A lot
After that big
of the planet have not been have not upgraded their infrastructure, bro. I swear.
that shit,
And
a
that's
lot of the
purposely done because they're purposely collapsing all of these governments around the globe, and all of them are nothing more than the colonies that have manifested into these governments today, right?
mm-hmm.
All of these are basically the colonizers who not own have created a government, a pseudo government over here, or they have taken control of a government by taking control of the people and infiltrating those people of that land. You know what I'm saying? So everything at this point is the people either going to allow the beast to continue to fuck them, or we're going to step up and stand up against for our human rights. That's it. That's the bottom line right now.
Yeah, that's it. We are either going to accept this tyranny, or we're going to stand up for our human rights, for our rights to be the right to be, because they're not giving us the right to be. They don't want you to be. They want you to be what they want you to be.
Right.
And what they want us to be is just a fucking battery. an energy, a battery to power up their reality.
Americans are the most delusional people on the planet. I'm just be honest. We're the delusional motherfuckers on the goddamn planet. Right? So they can pull off. They can tell us. They can tell us, oh, we're the freest society on the planet, and go around the globe trying to police everybody based on that false image, and we fell for the bullshit. That was magic if I ever seen it.
Not only that, we police, we go in, bomb the fuck out of people, invade people countries, kill up the masses, and then have the nerve to get mad at someone else when they have their own little family fight.
The image, our main example is the United States government, and we're following its example to the T. Because what does it do? What does it do? This motherfucker sneaky. It presents itself as the most polished, and that's exactly what everybody in the general public do.
Yeah,
they present themselves. You get to know them. You be like, you's a foul motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
That's what America is, and everybody is adopting the characteristics and the behavior wholeheartedly. Now, I'm not saying everybody, 1% amongst us that see and know better, and I say 1%. That's loosely. You know what I'm saying? They used to say, well, 5%. No, it's 1%.
Yeah, but they knew the real persona. The real true persona of America is evil. Evil.
And guess what? And most people are in agreement with it. They know that this motherfucking beast has done some atrocities around the planet. And they're not even speaking about that. They're so busy talking about Democrat, Republican. That's the highest level of intelligence that you're going to have with one of these robotic mind ass peoples out here.
Yeah.
Automaton. Who you going to vote on? I'm like, wow. My study has advanced. My study has advanced so much that you saying that to me is like an automaton or some type of primitive being coming to me, presenting
primitive,
like
primitive,
for real, voting. No, seriously, voting. That's what you're on. Are you serious? No, people who have presented that to me recently know they're embarrassed themselves by even presenting.
Mm-hmm.
That voting is actually going to do anything.
It's going to change something.
No. Let me just be right. Let's be real. About 5 years ago, somebody could have presented that shit and said it seriously.
Really?
Like, yeah, about 5 years ago, they probably should have said it. And even though back then I was up on game too, but I'm saying to the general public, I'm weighing it in by the average person. Right now, you talk about voting, nobody's fucking with you. I swear. They not fucking with you. We see through that already. Even the most idiotic motherfucker sees through that.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yeah.
So at that, and then when you yeah. Well, my thing is, you got to be naive as fuck to not believe the wickedness of this system. Well, I got so much evidence to just, you know what I'm saying, destroy your whole world. Because you do got a lot of naive people who are in Candyland, purposely, because they see through it, but they're comfortable in Candyland, man. They comfortable in TV land. They comfortable there. You know what I'm saying?
They shouldn't be no more. If they still are able to feel comfortable these days, then they are truly spiritually dead.
Yeah.
Flatline.
Dead.
Yeah. Spiritually flatline. Okay.
And guess what? That's exactly how they're looked at in the eyes of the law.
Yeah, if you give them spiritual smelling sauce, they ain't waking up.
Dead.
Dead.
And really, Your Honor, you're right about that because they're totally inactive in their own affairs at this point. Totally inactive. That's a dead corpse,
Yeah,
right?
you tried.
A dead corpse ain't gonna move out the way in traffic because it's dead.
Dead. It's
You feel me?
dead. You try to call them on their mental cell phone, you're gonna get the subscriber you're trying to reach is outside of the coverage area.
Right. They ain't even got a signal, man. They shit is primitive ass technology they dealing with.
Yeah, there ain't no signal there. There ain't no network. You ain't getting no internet on their motherfucking shit. You just got a basic calculator and word processor.
That shit, no, they don't got a calculator on that motherfucker. Come on now.
Yeah,
They don't got no calculator on that motherfucker.
and only memory.
You give them too much. You give them too much. They even got one of them counting, you know what I'm saying? When you in elementary you had a counting thing. That's what they had on that motherfucker.
Yeah.
You got 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, table the fucking table tennis game.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And me, I don't know it all. I'm not gonna come out here and say I'm gonna know it all. The more I learn that I don't know it all. I don't know it all. But I do know more than the average person, and I know enough to be a little dangerous, but I still know it all.
That's another misconcept that you're supposed to retain all this knowledge and all that stuff, right? And that's when you are intellect and no, this is all Western thinking, man.
Yeah.
Everyone is a genius already because it's in your genetics. It's already carried on in your genetics. You're a genius already. So, and then the thing about it is, most people don't know how to critically think and how to investigatively think. That's the problem we have. That's the problem. It ain't that people don't know how to connect the dots on certain common sense issues. They choose not to, but it ain't like they can't. It's just the longer you dumb yourself down, the longer you don't use your brain, it goes into what's called entropy.
Well, these people are critical. They're critical about a lot of things, except for critical things. They're not critical about critical things, but they're critical about non-important things.
If the new Jordans come out, the rare edition Jordans come out, they critically need them.
Yeah, are critical of you if you don't.
iPhone, what they got the new iPhone 31 or 33. If that motherfucker come out, they critically need it.
They're critical. Yeah, they're critical about that. They're critical consumers. Critical consumers.
Intellectualism is another way to suppress, because they lead us to believe that leave that to the intellectual experts, and they, you know what I'm saying, like, and it's like we've been led to believe that it's hard to get into those fields of study because it's the prestige and the classism associated with it, right? They lead you to believe that this is prestige and this is hierarchy education and stuff. When at the end of the day, right? Anyone can be a critical thinker. Anyone can dive into things like string theory. It's not a hard concept to grasp, right? No. You've been led to believe that you're outside of the class to be able to, the inferiority complex. They told you when they gave you that false white supremacist nomenclature, right? They gave you They saying your brain is not developed enough because you're genetically inferior, right? And we believe in the shit. We believe in their perspective of intellect and how intellect is cultivated. It is
Yeah.
not cultivated in their institutions. No, it's not.
No.
It's not. It's literally cultivated in the efforts of your own self development, right? This is why Bobby Hemmett said knowledge is a privilege, right? Because why is knowledge a privilege? You have to be in within your own self recognition of your own self development and your necessity to have knowledge for your own self development. You have to be aware of that. Most of us are not aware of their necessity of their own for their own self development. They need knowledge. In order to know yourself, you need knowledge. You need to study.
Yeah.
You need to study. I mean, it's a necessity like eating.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, it is eating. Yes.
It is eating.
Yeah, your brain, your mind needs food.
Yeah.
It has to
And
eat.
then it allows you to expand your circumference of thinking. This is the problem with a lot of people. They're so narrow in their thinking because they're not doing any research or study outside of what they got their high school diploma and now they're done with educating themselves.
That limits your reality. Because we create our own reality. So if you have a limited vocabulary or limited understanding of things, then you're going to have a limited reality.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Yeah, and then everything becomes impossible to you in your reality. And the impossible, when your reality is faced with something that appears to be impossible, your reality cannot. It just takes it as something that's beyond you.
Impossibility is only limited by your thinking. Or
Yeah.
possibility is only limited by your thinking.
I mean, your thinking should be is that all things are possible, all things are permittable.
That's why I said possibility is only limited by your thinking.
By your thinking.
So if you're limited in your thinking, you're limited in your possibility.
Yeah, well, then that's because you're only functioning in your root chakra, your red and orange chakra, and yellow chakra. Haven't made it to the green chakra.
He said a
And
brother
if you do, you probably haven't everything down below.
He said a brother won the lottery for 25,000 and brought a 10,000 gold chain. That's crazy.
Oh God! Well, you know what? No, actually, that $10,000 gold chain is gonna be worth $100,000 when gold goes through the roof.
But also that if that because there's a lot of fake gold out here that these people are selling these people too. So you better get praised if anything, and then it's a lot of hollow gold.
I mean, buying gold is not a bad idea. Buying $10,000 worth of gold is not a bad idea, but but
no, like I said, a lot of this custom jewelry it depreciates and it doesn't hold any it doesn't accumulate any value because it's been unless you melt it down.
He's wearing it
down, right? Unless you melt it down and return it right back to its original state, and because it devalue when it's custom made and they got all these different things inside of it. It devalues it.
Yeah, because it got well. Shit. A lot of these other stuff that it might have in it are valuable now because like things like nickel, cobalt, I mean, all these other metals are very, very valuable because they need them for the production of these batteries for these electric cars and for this new age that they're trying to push us into.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, we got.
In fact, there was a movie. There was a movie about this. Don't Look Up. You ever heard of this movie called Don't Look Up?
I've heard of that before, but I've never seen it. But I have heard that.
It was about an asteroid that was coming on collision course to the Earth. So obviously, they didn't want people to look up to to become aware of it. But there was a scientist that was on it and was trying to get the government to see to take this shit serious. They didn't take it serious. Then when they did finally discover that it was coming and it was going to destroy the Earth, they found out that this meteor was composed of all of these metals that we need for electronic cars and for batteries and shit. So
they want to mine it.
no, they had a plan to send missiles up to destroy it. When they found out what it was made of, they said, no, you can't do that. They were going to try to save the meteor. They were going to try to harvest the meteor. And by not sending the missiles up in time, they ended up dying. The fucking thing came and destroyed their ass.
That reminds me, whatever happened to the Star Wars project? Remember?
Oh, Reagan?
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably there.
Probably still up there, huh?
It's probably up there. It probably evolved into something else. Now it's this 5G thing.
Remember they said during Trump's little run or whatever, his little administration, he's talking about they in his administration they created a new space division.
Yeah, the Space Force. Now you don't hear about that.
Right, because they mention it, but it literally becomes something that, okay, for legal reason we have to mention it once, so it can be you know what I'm saying. But then we don't never mention it again, and then we still operating on it. As long as we let them know once, then it's like, you know what I'm saying, we can continue to do our covert shit that we want to do with this organization and shit.
Now he's saying this guy's wearing that $10,000 gold chain. He's gonna get robbed.
Definitely.
He's gonna get
he better not go in the hood. He better not go in the hood with that shit.
Oh hell no! In the hood, shit. You better not go anywhere with that shit. Man, they going in the fucking Beverly Hills and doing the smash and grab shit. Your ass walking around there while they doing a smash and grab with a $10,000 chain, they gonna smash and grab your ass.
you know how they tell. Oh, I heard that up north now that petty what they call it, petty theft is basically not chargeable. They don't charge you for that shit.
Yeah, it's not even
unless you steal a certain amount or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
North is doing a lot of runouts now, and they closing down a lot of department stores. And I was like, damn, that seemed like another setup.
Yeah.
Seems like another setup to me, man. Everything appears to be a setup at this moment now. Don't take it nothing at face value. No, nothing. Do not take it as face value. Do your investigation. Find out what's really going on behind everything. This is a transition. Everything is suspicious, man. It's suspicious.
Yeah.
Do your investigations. Become critical thinkers. You understand me? And I'm not saying paranoia like some of these conspiracy theorists fools. No, I'm talking about real critical thinking.
Yeah, real critical. Yeah, you better be critical think. You better be using critical thinking now, because you don't know if you're a frog already being boiled to death, slow cooked. You don't know if you're already in a pot of water being slow cooked or slow boiled.
Right, and a frog, his skin is like where his skin adjusts to the heat, to the climate around him, so it wouldn't notice it until it's too late.
Yeah, until he's fucking baked.
Yeah. He said he's in Detroit. Oh, he's gonna get robbed. in Detroit.
Oh,
In Detroit, he's gonna get robbed in Detroit. they ain't plotting. They at this moment they plotting on that nigga.
yeah.
At this moment.
Mm-hmm. They're trying to figure out which pawn shop should I take this mother.
He said somebody kept running over the homeless tent on the sidewalk. I was like, damn, when is that eventually gonna happen? Like, I've been looking at that shit a long time. Not that I imagine myself doing it, but I was like, these people is crazy out here. These people, they should have been when at the homeless. They are vulnerable as hell.
Yeah, well, you got people that are so pissed off because it's taking down the value, the property value of their community, and they're pissed off because their children got to see this shit going to school. They're, homeowners, regular people are flipping.
Yeah, it's like these homeless people are. You have to realize these homeless people out here are the insane asylum release.
Mm-hmm.
They are they have to have some insane asylum, some type of that. First of all, what I'm talking about, the insane asylum, what I'm speaking on the metaphor, that's a metaphor analogy for the fact that they're putting no funds into mental health programs. They're putting no funds. And then what happens is we have to realize that all of these crazy people that we have in this country are the result of the federal Department of the Food and the Food and Authority, right? The ones who regulate our food, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of chemicals is coming through that's changing our chemical makeup in our inside of us.
Well, that's my
driving people crazy. Right. It's like that's a lot of that is driving people crazy, plus the drugs. It's so many compound reason why people are just going crazy right now, bro. Literally, right? This is the homeless. This is a part of the homeless drugs. Most of these people are either mentally, emotionally disordered or on heavy drugs. These homeless people.
Yeah.
So, and that's what they don't want to. This is what the city don't want to. They want to make it appear like, oh, it's economic in nature, and yes, that's part of it, right? But the biggest part is the fact that they have no sources, no resources for these people. Man. They're not. They don't care. They don't care. Basically,
no.
This is why these homeless people are here. They're not. They're not. They had to even have when they had the meeting about this issue at the recent city hall meeting, right?
Uh-huh.
The city tried to talk this rhetoric about they're providing more housing and they're making it where these all the housing programs that they're making it more accessible to people in homelessness. Basically, they're not going to do nothing.
They're taking the money and putting it in their own pockets. Okay, they're supposed these little homeless boots, these little little booths that they made for homeless people. They say each one of them supposed to cost $89,000. Okay, these things probably don't even cost probably like maybe $1,200 or $1,300 to buy and put together, or maybe $2,000 or $3,000.
Right.
But they're claiming
the first solution was to just give them tents and shit. That was the first solution that the city suggested. Oh, just give them tents for free and provide them with certain healthcare issues and needs. And free clinics are already free. We already fund them, so they feel like the city feel like they have already addressed the problem. That's the basic conclusion the city has come to. That they have already addressed the problem. And a lot of the city people in the city politics culture, they blaming the county. They're blaming the LA County for it. So the city is blaming the county, and the county, I guess, is blaming the city. So it's a lot of basically it's a civil war going on at this particular moment on all levels of government right now. But with that, we got to go. I got to go get ready for my other show.
Okay,
You
man.
got any last words? Go ahead and let it be known. So we can get on.
Well, last words, man. All I can say is after next Wednesday, when we get these 2 rate hikes, hold on to your seats. So it's going to get very hectic. This is where shit it's going to be blood of the lamb time. Blood of
Guess
the lamb.
what? This is where you're supposed to thrive if you are in your proper energy, if you in your proper nature right now. This is the time you're supposed to be thriving right now.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be thriving at this time right now, not the other way around. That's
yeah,
what I mean.
if you understand how these things work and where you should be and where you shouldn't be, then
well, that's just kicking in right now. You are, like I said, that you in your true nature and your true energy. All of what you need to do should be kicking in right now. You're getting access to the wisdom of your ancestors, the highest wisdom of your ancestors right now. They're speaking to you. Y'all just not listening. And with that, we out.
okay. All right. Next week.